Greetings, everyone. GleeCon back again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. On our last episode, we ran around some Dark Shore quests on the shore of Dark Shore as a Night Elf Druid, and we also did a couple quests in the ruins of Basholaran, something like that. Pretty good zone, no hiccups. Being able to turn into a bear and maul people's face off was fun. We also have been reading the Horde Player's Guide, getting little snippets of history on the different races and factions that make up the Horde. On our last one, we looked at the kind of niche Horde ally, the Forest Trolls, basically the Ravan Tusk Trolls in the Hinterlands. So stay a while and listen as we continue that journey, although it is from a Dungeons & Dragons perspective from the source book, the Horde Player's Guide. And we're going to continue with a sect of the Forsaken known as the Cult of Forgotten Shadow. Stay a while and listen. I've also been playing Diablo Immortal lately to get myself ready for the new Diablo. I tried Diablo Immortal in the past. Just don't love it. I've never been a fan of those sort of isometric phone games, and so I downloaded it on the PC, but still plays like a phone game. I do like that it's like fast-paced and stuff. I do like some elements of it, but it's basically all of the repetitive grindiness of season mode on regular Diablo 3, which I've been playing on and off for probably as long as it's been out, which is, I think, over a decade at this point. And it's just not as fun as that. Like, in my opinion, I don't like it. I do like a couple little things about it. But anyway, that's a whole other aside. Maybe on a different episode, on a different series of pods, or not pods, videos, we could talk about and play some of those other Blizzard ones if we ever decide to step out of the World of Warcraft and into the larger Blizzard universe. But here we go. So this cult has a membership of 700. They are lawful evil or freaking crazy. They are the Horde, and since they're part of the Forsaken, they're tied into that. They particularly operate in Death Knell and the Undercity, but they have agents all throughout Forsaken areas. And their main activity is to induct new Forsaken into the fold. Now, it says that here's an errata. It says for Forsaken and Healing in Chapter 2 of the World of Warcraft RPG. So that would be the first book of this like revamped set. It misquotes that they can't heal naturally. It says intelligent undead such as the Forsaken are capable of healing naturally. So that's, you don't have to do weird things to heal. You can heal if you're Forsaken, just normal resting, all that stuff. I met some creepy bastards while wandering through the Terrestrial Glades. One of them was a prophet, preaching some whack-job philosophy to the Forsaken wandering around. Curious, I approached the undead and questioned him on what he was teaching, and he told me of something that sounded similar to the Holy Light, but at the same time, horribly wrong. I had heard rumors about this undead faith, so I wandered around a bit and found many more of these preachers and philosophers. Slowly, I pieced together the worshippers of many of the ideas and dubbed them the Cult of Forgotten Shadow. The Forgotten Shadow follows many of the Holy Light's concept and virtues. Former Holy Light priests created this new philosophy when they lost their faith. They felt that the light forgot them and turned to the shadow instead. The philosophy, remember, the Holy Light isn't a religion as much as a philosophy, and the Forgotten Shadow is pretty much a twisted version of the Holy Light, has some significant changes. For one, instead of seeing both a self and a universe and seeking to create a bond between them through compassion, the Forgotten Shadow preaches a much more self-oriented idea. Priests preach that the self has power over the universe, and the universe revolves around the self. You were powerful enough to rise from your own grave and become sentient, and you may continue to strengthen yourself by increasing your control of the world around you, thus becoming more godlike. Many priests dub this concept divine humanism. They also preach that there must be a balance between light and shadow, and you must learn the light as well, but never forget that you were born from the shadow. Now, they go back to this divine humanism. This seems to be a pet topic of the author, more so than the true understanding of how World of Warcraft operates, because like I said before, I don't think they touch on it. But it would have to be a divine humanism other than just a philosophy or a humanism, because they get magic powers. they can actually directly tap into the light and the shadow and manifest them and draw on them and make changes in the world, as well as meet avatars or greater gods. So you can call it whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, these people are utilizing this energy, serving, for whatever purposes, and many of them good. So I guess the philosophy would be, how do you serve it? Because it takes faith out of the equation, for the most part. So it would have, it's different than a world like this would by necessity have a completely different relationship with religion than our world has. Priests of the Forgotten Shadows share important roles in Forsaken society. Most priests, especially those in death knell, guide newly awakened Forsaken, inducting them into the fold. The first thing they tell you if you've just gotten up from a dirt nap is that the light has abandoned you and that your strength, not something else, granted you the ability to rise from the dead. It's a bunch of self-empowerment baloney, but it works, giving comfort to those new undead. They also act as pillars of society, like most priests, offering atonement and comfort for those seeking help. They're a bit nobler than I first gathered. The Mindless Ones, sidebar. Forsaken heroes should never fear becoming Mindless Ones. Only those too weak to resist the Lich King fall to that state. However, Mindless Ones can be a good plot hook. Perhaps a former ally has fallen, or a friend is feeling herself slip away and the PCs must do something about it. Mindless Ones are simply Forsaken with the zombie template applied to them. This is an exception to the fact that undead cannot have the zombie template. Also, do not adjust their strength or agility scores. See the monster guide for the zombie template. I don't know if that's the old monster guide that we've already read, or if it's the new one we're going to be reading soon in a couple books. They, like the apothecaries, also provide a service to the undead, the ability to heal. Forsaken live in dangerous places, and their unlife is fragile enough as it is without worrying whether the next nick is going to send one back into their grave. So we're on to... Okay. The priests even have the power to restore those foolishly slain in battle, though only to unlife. Nothing short of a miracle can return true life. While an apothecary can perform many of the same services, most are too busy with their potions to bother. Priests are cheaper as well. A powerful acolyte is respected as much as an apothecary or a necromancer, perhaps even more so. Forsaken priests also work to understand and cull the Mindless Ones. Apparently, some Forsaken are not strong enough to resist the Lich King's call, and they slowly find themselves losing their minds. These guys eventually revert to mindless killer zombies. The priests of the Forsaken Shadow consider it their duty to put these former friends to rest and to find out why this is happening. It's cold, but I can accept why they do it. I wouldn't want to see my best friend walking around as an unintelligent corpse. Organization. The cult is loosely organized with a hierarchy defined by power and experience. Novice acolytes work at menial tasks, while a single shadow priest serves as bishop for a community. Dark priests seem to be more like archbishops, ruling over wide territories. These are just rough guesses, though. Even the priests can't focus on a strict organization yet. Locations. The cult has two major bases, a church in Death Knell and a section of the Warriors' Quarter in the Undercity. Members. The cult suckers in any undead who displays half a brain cell and a bit of curiosity about death and his own damned soul. By and large, most of the members of this cult are converters from the Church of the Holy Light, rather typical of a faith if you ask me. And leaders. The cult has no official leader. While its members occasionally revere Sylvanas or Varamathras, it is too loosely organized to have any sort of true management. The closest thing to a true leader is the Banshee Aethalisti. Aethalist? I don't know how we would say that. Aethalist. In the Undercity, whom most priests report to. So if you notice, things have changed. We're still in this chapter, but we've taken a big shift. Now we are more going to be talking about organizations rather than races. So these are kind of more sects, and you don't gain the whole DC knowledge. What do people know about these? I also feel like this one was a little redundant. We've pretty much read much more interesting things earlier in the book about that. So maybe the next one will be something that we actually learn more from. But hey, we got another episode in the pipe, 5x5. Thank you, everyone, as always, so much for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead, share it with your friends if you think they'll enjoy it too. Let's get some subscribers, some likes, all that stuff. And either way, I'll see you guys next time on Lore of Warcraft.